It is a most alarming trend that members and leadership of the ANC have taken to attacking and undermining constitutional bodies and processes when their findings go against the ANC.
The recent correspondence where she wrote to the president requesting clarity on the president regarding the investigations into security upgrades in his private residence shows clearly that there is indeed a conduct that seeks to undermine this institution.
Parliament should not give any attention to a statement like this, and I would suggest it's out of order.
Honourable Member, in terms of how Parliament must deal with the structures concerned, as the Honourable Mulder points out, we should deal with it differently because we appoint them.
Tensions between the public protector and the ANC seemingly have reached a boiling point. Peter standing by to unpack that story.
Thank you, Vibhashini. Well, to help us unpack that story is SABC's contributing editor, Vuya Mvoko. Vuya, always a pleasure to talk to you. What a day. And it does seem that this tension between the ANC and the public protector is reaching new heights of discomfort, for want of another word. What is the main bone of contention, do you think, that the ANC has with the public protector?
Well, I mean, they're not hiding their dissatisfaction with the way she is conducting herself, going further today to say she's hell-bent on crisscrossing the world, discrediting the country, discrediting the ANC, bad-mouthing South Africa and so on, which sounds a bit too harsh. But from where I sit, I just think there has to be a point at which the ANC has to say, fine, given how the public protector is conducting herself, given how Parliament, works, looking at some of the things that she has been asking for, some of the things that she has had issues with, is it not perhaps a time for us to sit down and look at ourselves and see whether from the way we conduct ourselves, from the way we argue our facts, from the way our principals, do or don't do certain things when called upon to do so, there isn't perhaps an argument to be made that maybe we should look at ourselves first and see if we shouldn't change our own behavior. If I was the ANC, I would start looking at that, notwithstanding, in other words, irrespective of whether you think you're on the right side or not. Or if you believe that the public protector is overstepping her boundaries, then why not go to the Constitutional Court and clarify certain things? Because right now, I think increasingly the ANC is losing the war, certainly in the court of public opinion, because there are people who think that it's just hell-bent to protect leaders or not to do what or it's being it's getting hot under the collar because the public protector is giving them a tough time. And I think that's what I would advise them to do if I was to. That's my 3 cents worth of advice. So
what about the argument they're putting forward is that these leaks seem to happen too often from her office, and now she's saying that they're saying that it was timed to coincide with the EFF disruption in Parliament, almost as if to suggest that there's a political populist agenda that she has.
Leaks are a very tricky thing to sort of debate and discuss, because you're never really sure for certain unless, of course, you have proof. The one party may say they can only be, the other party may be the only one who would have leaked documents or anything like that. But someone else will say there wouldn't be a need for leaks, if you dealt with the basic question, some of which are the ones I've just alluded to. So it's going to be tricky unless really someone puts, credible arguments and evidence on the table. Anyone can point a finger at the other person and say you are responsible for the leaks. I mean, over the past few months, we've been at this story. I mean, there are instances where it looked like actually the public protector leaked. There were other instances where it looked like there were other parties leaking. I don't think leaks should be an issue at at all. I think we need to be dealing with the fundamental issues, the stuff that lies at the heart of all these arguments and debates. And if we deal with that, then we wouldn't be talking about it.
So we know what they're not happy with. Is there a behavior they expect her to conform to? What do they want her to do, rather?
Well, it would seem like that. I mean, a comparison was made, for example, today. Gwede Mandashe saying, if you look at the Auditor General and how the Auditor General's office conducts itself, compare or contrast that with the Office of the Public Protector. You know, people still engage with the reports of the Auditor General, and people do as they are required. But if you look at how the Public Protector works, and also some of the weapons she has, or that office has at its disposal, it does sort of elevate her somewhat, not above the Constitution, but I think it was for effectiveness and efficiency. And it's difficult to argue actually against that. And I'm saying for people who would do the sort of things or say the sort of things that would make a lot of people to begin to undermine that office will be going down a slippery slope. I think rather people should look at ways of engaging. And I say if at the level of Parliament, MPs, which is where debates should be happening, the ANC has to up its game there. And if it's getting no joy, or it believes that this is a matter to be dealt with elsewhere, say at the level of the Constitutional Court, I think that's what needs to be done. But as democracies worldwide sort of happen to do these things, litigation is actually one of, if not the best route to follow when disputes like these arise. But I don't think to just keeping on criticizing the Public Protector is doing the ANC any good, especially for a ruling party that regards itself as a leader of society and whose sole interest in this case is to actually promote our constitution.
The Public Protector herself is also courting the public as well, tweeting and making statements in the media. Is that not adding, sort of fanning the flames, as it works? Because she could just get on with her job.
Well, it's become a forum of engagement. Twitter has become a forum of engagement, just like Facebook and all the other social media platforms. Why shouldn't she seize the opportunity? The ANC isn't stopped from doing that. Parliament isn't stopped from doing that. And those are some of the things I'm saying. Maybe the ANC needs to look at its strategy of engagement, whether it is engaging on the right issues, with the right using all the forums that it has at its disposal. It has to up its game. You cannot just sit there and be confident that because you are, for instance, I mean, Gwede Mandashe was raising the issue of people who were saying we're anti-majoritarian, liberal offensive or certain people. One way, or perhaps I would argue that the best way to engage, to deal with that offensive is to actually tackle it head on, which means the ANC has to up its game, whichever way you're looking at it.
Okay, so if today we're saying we've reached new lows, if this carries on, what is likely to happen? Because something's got to give.
Obviously, you begin to erode people's confidence in public, in important, it must be underlined, public institutions like the Public Protector. If it's wrong, expose what is wrong with her, and let's deal with that. And the same goes for Parliament. If whatever you are doing in Parliament, no matter how convinced you may be of the correctness of your position, but if you do it such that people can read into it, as was the case last week, that the Speaker of Parliament was doing nothing but to protect her president. If you do it such way, then there will continue to be lingering doubts about your intentions and the net effect that has in eroding our and the last thing the ANC would want, given its history, is to be seen to have eroded this constitutional democracy that it did so much to actually put where it is today.
All right, so we're going to have to leave it there. William Volker, contributing editor at SABC, thank you very much for your time tonight. Now, if you've missed the ANC press conference on the Public Protector and the EFF, you can visit our website www.sabc.co.za/news and click here to access the footage. It's at, as I said, www.sabc.co.za/news.